All right, I'll show you some better footage at the end of this, but I love this. So, school of fish. Here comes a square bill from the right. There he is, right there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, double miss. Rolling along, rolling. This guy's like, oh, I see it. I got a guy from underneath. Nobody gets it. That is just unbelievable. Here it is in slow motion. Look at this. Both of them charge that bait. Now I got one later where they both get the bait, and it looks like you'll see the whole school basically converge on the trap, but on the square bill. But look at that. That's, whoo, man, fun stuff. I'll show you some more at the end of this, guys.
Hi guys, Ken Smith Fishing. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm going to do this in my best constructive criticism manner. So I've already talked a little bit about tournaments not enforcing rules. We had that conversation. There's a long history of that. I've never talked about, I quit fishing Angler's Choice because Johnny, the guy who won Angler's Choice, there was a situation at Texoma. He allowed somebody who had gotten a ticket for boy, do I want to, I'm going to go down this path. He allowed somebody who got a ticket for not having a Texoma fishing license to win the tournament, and it cost me a bunch of money. And he was too big a coward, so his rules plainly stated you would be disqualified if you broke state law. The guy was issued a citation on the day of the tournament. His catch should have been disqualified. And a bunch of us raised a bunch of hell about it, and he wouldn't enforce the rule because the guy who won the tournament was one of his favorites. And so I told him if he did that, I wouldn't fish his stuff anymore. If he's going to bend the rules to fit who he thinks the rules shouldn't apply to, I wasn't going to fish his stuff. So obviously I've had I've been doing this a really, really long time. I fished my first bass tournament in 1977, the summer of 1977, Lake Ouachita, Mr. Bass of Arkansas. So I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. Mostly it's been great experiences. The vast majority, 99.9% of my tournament fishing has been great experiences, but a few things haven't. And I had what I feel like was a very poor experience with the Texas Team Trail at Richland Chambers this weekend. And it was not just me. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about this. So they had 120 boats in that tournament, and they broke it down into 2 flights. Now, I may be wrong about this, but I swear I heard him say that morning that the first flight was boat 0 to 80, and the second flight was 81 to 120. Now, maybe I heard that wrong. If so, boat 80 is the one who got screwed worse than anybody else. But it took 38 minutes from the time he called boat 1 until he called boat 120, which is in itself way out of line, and I'll talk about that in a second. But there's been sort of an unwritten rule in tournament fishing forever that says that if you're in a later flight because you don't get first choice of spots, it's not written, but it's kind of understood, then you get a little bit longer to fish. Look, Bassmaster gets a 200 boat field out in 20, 25 minutes at the most, really fast. And I'll talk favorably here for BFLs and Costas. They get them out incredibly quick, and there's a reason, and I'll talk about that. But not only did we not get any chance to fish stuff, we actually fished a shorter day. If it took 38 minutes for me to get out and I only got 15 extra minutes, that means boat 1 fished 23 minutes longer than I did. A friend of mine, Scott Dean, laughed and said that they had 2 fish in the boat before the 20th boat had left the ramp. It's an early bite. That's just the way it is right now at Richland Chambers. We didn't get to take advantage of that, nor did about another, 50 boats probably, because it took them so long to send them off. So constructive criticism to that team trail and to all team trails. You got to have more flights, right? Most of them run 20 to 25 boats a flight. So there should have been a 6th flight there. That would have given us, maybe at least another hour to fish. But even just to make it fair, don't give me an advantage. Don't make me lose 23 minutes of my day because it takes you so long to call your boats out. So that's gripe. That's constructive criticism number 1. constructive criticism number 2, and I'm aiming this at them and also a little bit at Bass Champs because I fish Bass Champs. The one thing BFL has right is BFL, you put in the water, and before you can take off, you have to go through boat check. So the way it works is, long before they start calling numbers, you have to idle by a dock. They check your live wells, they check your kill switch, and you get a buoy that you bring at the end of the day. That allows them, frankly, to go boat number 1, go. Boat number 2, go. Boat number 3. Now, maybe it's 10 seconds difference while you idle past the buoy to take off, or whatever the marker is where you can take off. That is such a better system than idling by a dock or idling by a boat for them to check it as you leave. I don't understand why all these tournament organizations don't adopt that program. And I will give Bass Champs guys a break on this because they do it way faster than what I saw with Texas Stream Trail this weekend. And you know what? There's a Bass Champs tournament somewhere this weekend. Sorry about that, guys. Hollis doesn't feel good. He's running a little fever and he came down crying, so we went to check on him. What I was going to say is, so there's not the next Bass Champs tournament is the first week of June at Takeoff. But there's a Brandon Bell tournament this weekend. Ryan's your tournament director there. What I'd love for one of you guys to do is somebody that's boat 50 or later, time them from the time they call the first boat to they call, say, boat 50. I'll be willing to bet you they get a boat out. I bet they get somewhere between 4 and 6 boats out per minute. I bet they can turn 100 boats in 20 minutes. And it makes a difference, right? It's first off, draws are inherently unfair because, again, you get a good boat draw, you got first crack at the fishing spots. But it's compounded when those guys later flights don't also get to fish as long as the guys in earlier flights. This is actually the only tournament that I've ever fished where I felt like, well, not where I felt like, where it was obvious we got less time to fish than other guys in the tournament. So I would just be curious. Somebody time them at Brandon Bell and either shoot me an email at kensmithfishingoutlook.com or post it in the comments and I'll pin it so it's a top comment. And then at Takeoff, somebody do the same thing for me. I don't think we'll fish that Bass Champs tournament because we didn't get a chance to fish all of them this year. But I'd be real curious. I bet Bass Champs is faster. But if you pay attention to the BFL, they're even faster. So my comments are stagger your flights fairly, and why not let everybody have boat check before takeoff? It just makes it so much easier, so much quicker, so much cleaner. You're not banging into a dock because you're in a hurry to get out or bump in the boat or whatever. So that's my 2 cents on that. All right. I'm going to stick some footage in here. This is practice footage from Richland Chambers. By the way, we're going back to Chambers this weekend. We're going to fish media. A little bit because we're mad at them, and maybe we get our brains beat out again, but we just felt like we have a little payback on those fish. So we're going to go back down there this weekend and hopefully get to fish some of the stuff we want to fish, and we'll see how it turns out. But I had some great footage from some live scope footage I wanted to show you guys. Some fun footage. You'll see it here, but I thought y'all would enjoy this. So here's some early morning and then some live scope footage from Richland Chambers. This would have been Friday, I guess. Yeah, Friday we practiced. So here we go. Hey guys, I realized after I recorded this video, and I'm putting a cutaway in here, I got to talk about something. So, I think you guys have figured out and if you don't know Ed Clovis says some of the funniest stuff. And Ed Clovis used to say to me all the time, I'm not cheap, I'm poor. And I have said that so many times over the years. I'm not cheap, I'm poor. But I love a deal. So I am constantly scouring 6 Sense and Tackle Warehouse's sites for stuff that's on sale. And I got to share this with you. So that Mark Rose series of rods that Luz was making, those were $270+ rods. And they've quit that line. I don't know, maybe I haven't checked, but they've quit making the Mark Rose line. They're fabulous rods. And Tackle Warehouse has them on clearance, and I think Luz has some on clearance too for $149 a pop. So I'll put a link below to those. That is a great rod for that price, and I just want to share that with you guys. So check them out, and please shop with that link if you shop at Tackle Warehouse, because that then comes back to us in support from Tackle Warehouse to the channel. So back to my video.
You just want to bring your kid and let him get his string pulled. Holy smokes. Get him a trace and bring him down here and get on these main lake points in the next few weeks. And he'll catch a big one. Alright, I'm going to show you this school of fish. You can see them right there. There's a school of fish. I'm going to throw my crankbait just past them. Here comes my crankbait. Boom. I mean, as soon as it gets in that school of fish, it's just whoop. See if I can just get a little closer to them. There's a little school right here in front of us, just barely right there in front of us. Here comes my crankbait. Don't look at them ball up around that crankbait. And you see, I'm pulling the whole school with me. Oh, I got two on. Right there, two, and there's about 10 with him.
All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll have more tournament footage up for you next week. Thanks, guys.